Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to set up your Cisco router so you can connect to the internet and you can connect your stations, PCs to that router using wireless connection. We've got a lot of things to cover and just let's get started. And as you can see, this router has no configuration at all. There we are. So what we're going to do, we're going to connect fast Ethernet 4, that port, into our Ethernet provider and use that interface .11 radio 0 to connect stations wirelessly to the internet. Of course you can use ports fast Ethernet from 0 to 3 and you can connect your computers using a wired network, like servers, printers, or whatever you want to. So what we're going to do, we're going to create two VLANs. One will be your private VLAN, second will be your guest VLAN, so you can share that connection with your clients or customers. Depends how you're going to use that router and where. So let's get started. First of all, we need to set up VLANs. Give it a name. So we're going to create two VLANs, private and guest VLAN. Just to verify you can see we've got two VLANs just created, VLAN 100 and VLAN 200. Next step will be well, we need to add some basic configuration, so keep your network secure. They're not really important. Well, they're important, but you can skip that if to have the internet connection. But it's a good practice to put them on the router so that your network will be more secure, and it's like a basic housekeeping, so you know everything should be running nice and smooth. If you need more details about all those commands, I recommend go to the Cisco website and find why and what for we putting all those commands on the router. So now will be a little bit boring, but It's quite important stuff. That command will show debug the daytime, let me say local time. So you see, if you come to the troubleshooting, you will see when this happened and what time. So that will help you with troubleshooting. So that's why I recommend to put all those commands. That's quite a interesting command, which limit the length of the password. And few more commands. We need to create a domain name so we can use SSH, so we can SSH into the router remotely. We have to create a bridge, because that will allow us to connect our wireless access point, which is built into the router, with our internal VLAN. That's why we're going to create and put that command bridge IRB. And to even add more security, we can disable the CDP. globally. Oh, actually we just disabled on the interface, on the wireless interface as well. Anyway, now we're going to create add encryption to our wireless connection. So all we have to do is just go into the wireless interface. That's another few good commands. Remember, like I said, it will be quite a lot of typing, so you have to be patient. Right, okay, now we're going to put encryption. So we should be able to connect to the wireless access point from our PC. So it's encryption. Now we have to add a VLAN. And now we've got options. We're going to go for ciphers. And now you can choose type of encryption, and we're going to use AES-CCM or hyphen. That's WPA2, which is quite strong. That's for our VLAN 100, and exactly the same for our VLAN 200, which is our internal network. And now we're going to create SSID. So it means how we're going to advertise our wireless network. And there will be two, not very creative, but you can name the way you like. And now we're going to connect that network with our VLAN. And now exactly the same for the second wireless network. I think you can create up to 10 wireless SSIDs on this particular router, but I'm not 100% sure. I never really used more than 2 or maybe 3. Right, okay, so we got our SSIDs ready. So what we have to do next is advertised our wireless network, so that it will be visible. You can scan for those networks using your device, like mobile phone, wireless, or laptop, or and PC with wireless card. So, but before we do that, we have to enable multiple SSIDs on the interface. That's one command for that. Okay, I can't remember now. That's it. And now advertised each wireless networks. So escape from there. Now we're going to set up our networks, wireless two networks, wireless networks, and we're going to use the sub interfaces for that. And before we do that, actually, we need to put the passwords and advertised, like I said, advertise our networks. So one step back, create SSIDs, and now put a password and encryption on each wireless interface. So that command will enable multi SSIDs, so we can advertise each wireless network. And now we need to put the authentication and the password. And the password we're going to use ASCII. And now we need to put a password. You can choose any password. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a guests VLAN. Not very creative, but for the purposes of this video it will be good enough. And exactly the same for the second interface, for the actually for the second wireless network. Oh God. Missed. That's it. And now exactly the same. And now password same. I'm not very creative, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we can verify. You can see network, password. We are going to encrypt that password using service password encryption. But at the moment, just for this the video, for that video, I left this without any encryption. But what we have to do, we just need to enable service password encryption, and that password will be encrypted and you won't be able to see it. That's internal, that's a password. You see the interface, it's right now is in a shutdown mode. We've got our encryption for each VLAN interface. That's our SSIDs. We're going to fix that console as well. Okay. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so we got that. Next step is, like I mentioned earlier, is create a sub interfaces for each wireless network, and just let's do it. So the creating sub interface for the VLAN 100. That number here could be any number you like. I mean, over here you could just put 0.1, 10 or whatever you like, but I decided to use the same number as a VLAN number, but they'll need to be the same. Now we need to put an encapsulation, and here you need to put the exact VLAN number. That's important. Here you need to put the right one. Right here you can just choose any. So we're going to put 100, and you've got a option, and we're going to go for native. And now we're going to put the access list. So it means those two wireless interfaces won't be able to communicate between each other. So I mean we're going to separate those two wireless networks. So internal network won't be able to see our guest network. So we're going to put the access list on the interface, and later on we're going to create this access list to prevent happening. So it means that this network won't be able to reach our internal network. And we're going to disable CDP. Now we need to connect our wireless in our wireless network with the bridge interface. And add few commands to keep our network secure. Okay, so that's done. And now second wireless network. Zero, and the same idea. VLAN 200. Access list to prevent so those two networks won't communicate, prevent happening. Actually, we can use those commands exactly the same. will be quick. I just type this in. And here we're going to use a bridge group 2. Okay, we're getting there. I know it's a lot of typing, but when we go through this, everything should be much easier. Unicast. Okay, so that's done. Got that. Now we're going to create our VLANs interface VLANs. SVI. Okay, so let's do this. Interface VLAN 100 should come up. And we're not going to put any IP address on that interface. What we're going to do, we're going to put IP addresses on the BVI interfaces, which we're going to create in a minute. The same basic command: keep our network secure. And we're going to put IP NAT inside, because that will be our internal network. So that's important. Remember that you have to put that command. Probably you don't need to put that command, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think it's enabled by default. And now the very important ones: connect our VLAN 100 with bridge group 1. And a similar for the VLAN 200. And exactly the same here, like we've done for the interface VLAN 100. IP NAT inside. And this one will be bridge group 2. Okay, so we see what we got so far. So you can see we've got those two interfaces. And now they are connected with our VLANs. What we're missing? Okay, so now put the IP addresses on the BVI interfaces. So just do it. So those two interfaces are important, and we're going to put the IP address on each one, and that will be our two networks. One will be for our guest network, and the second one will be for our internal network. So we can just choose any range of addresses the way which you like, and depends on your needs. So just put that IP addresses. It should come up. That's it. And now IP address for that interface. (101) mask 24. Hold on, if I can type properly. That's it. And we need to add that command not inside. So that's interface. That is done, and the same for the second interface. And once again, IP address. Same IP not inside. Save our configuration. Okay, so what we're going to do next, we're going to create access list. Oh, actually we're going to overload our fast Ethernet 4. So our internal network should be able to connect to the internet using fast Ethernet 4. That one port on the router. and exactly the same for the second. I'm lazy, I don't want to type too much. And now we're going to create access list. Okay, and last one. One or two. This access list is used to connect our internal LANs to the internet. One is for the wireless, for the guest wireless network, and the second one is for our wireless and LAN network, which is 10 dot, oh God, what was it, 0. Ten zero zero one. White color mask. And so it means our internal network can connect to any outside IP address, or IP addresses actually. Okay, so that's done. And now I mentioned this earlier. How we're going to prevent and accessing wireless internal and external, well, guest and the internal network. How are we going to prevent so those two wireless networks can't communicate? So now we're going to create another tool, access lists, which will prevent communicating those two wireless networks. Deny IP and permit anything else. So that's done. So that access list will prevent from accessing our internal network called internal to access our guest network, and the same for the opposite. So it means our internal network can access guest network, and the guest network can access the internal network, if that makes sense. deny. And permit any address to any network. Save, and now we can see what we got so far. Our interfaces, our access lists here, access to the internet, and preventing to access from one wireless network into another. And now what we have to do is just enable bridge interfaces. Bridge 1 and enable protocol on the interface. And 1 and the same for the second one. Oh God. Page 2 route IP. Okay, so we got that. Now we have to create DHCP pool addresses. Same basic configuration. Nothing really special. Create networks. So that's our guest network. DNS servers. We're going to use public DNS servers, default router, and domain name, and lease 7 days. Okay, and the same for the internal pool of addresses. Pool internal. No. That's it. Once again the same. Network 10.0.0.0 DNS servers, same. Okay, default router 10.0.0.1 domain name least 7 days. Okay. And IP excluded addresses, so you can reserve some addresses for our devices if we need to. It's always handy to have some spares. Okay, yeah. Okay, type properly. Now by that. Ten 001 10 ooh. 10 okay, so that's what we got now. Now our fast Ethernet 4 interface, IP address, DHCP. So we don't need to worry about default route. We should receive this information from our DHCP server. Another command. It's handy to know. Default, and now you can put the name of the access list, which is 100 we created earlier. VLANs, no IP, unreachable, no IP, proxy, IP not outside, that's our outside interface. Now we have to turn on the interfaces. No shot. And our radio interface. Okay, so we got the IP address, and Now we need to connect our wired connection of switch ports to our internal network. So interface range F03 switch port mode access so that's access for our internal network, and connect those two ports with our VLAN 200, and what we can do, we can what's the command? Spanning tree, that's it. Spanning tree port fast. So it means globally we can enable port fast on the switch. Ooh, thing is enable BPD. Oh yeah, BPD. Yes, that's it. That's the whole command. Port fast BPD. And turn on the radio interface, which is interface dot radio 0 no shot. Okay, we need to wait. Interface can come up. Alright, one more thing. Give the router name. So as you can see, interfaces just start coming up. Interface brief, see what we got. Up. We can turn off interface VLAN 1. We're not going to use it. And even add the description, not in use. Same with our one interface for description 1 port. Okay. So you can see, I think all the configuration is done now, and we should be able to connect to the internet. Right, okay, so what was that wireless password? Why is it? Nothing goes over there. That's it, that's our internal, so that's our password. So try to connect to the interface. Right, okay, so we're going to put a name, internal security, password, wireless LAN. And as you can see, on the interface .0 station associated as authentication VPA version 2. So now we should be able to ping the internet. What was the tab? That's it. Ping. And you can see we can ping. So that's the whole thingy. We can add a security, and we can add a encryption, so we can connect wirelessly to our router. But we have to create a username and password. So right, okay, before we do that, we can enable secret. And in iOS 15, Cisco added another 2 types of encryption, not only MD5 but another 2. So if we put enable secret, this is what we got, script. So oh no, enable, and now what we got, the option algorithm type. So when you put this there, you can see the options MD5, which used to be, and you've got a script, and the SHA-256. We go for script, and now you can just put Cisco. Not very creative, but good for that purposes. Maybe put a secret Cisco. That's it. And you see, because we put the minimum length, we have to change that. So okay. Now password was accepted, and you can see that password is encrypted, and it's really long. There you are. And you got the type of encryption, and you got the password. So that's iOS 15 allows you to put that extra security. Right, okay, so now we can do the same for the username. Create username, or create actually user and password for that user using the same idea. put admin. And privilege, that's the highest possible level. Same algorithm type, script, secret, home, lab, not very creative, but doesn't matter. Same, we have to add a longer one, somebody go for the same. Cisco, home, lab, SSH. Okay, so just let's test it. There we are. We are in, and go to the VTY line. Y find VTY. Okay, what option 0 4? Oh no. Login local. And transport input SSH, transport output SSH, and now we need to create keys. General keys module, and we got so now it's going to create keys. I think will take a while, so probably I will pause the video. Right, we are back. Took a while, but finally we're there. Okay, so now we've got SSH enabled. We can even change into version 2. As you can see, we've got quite a lot of options. Version 2. We can add timeout and authentication retries. Means how many times you will be kicked out of that SSH session, and after how many seconds. So what we got, what kind of options we got: IP, SSH, timeout. I think it's in seconds, yeah, so we can put like 30 seconds, and the IP, SSH, authentications. Well, put 2. Okay, and now we can encrypt our passwords, wireless passwords. So that would be service password encryption, and that will be it. Oh, we can actually add something like banner MLTD. And then type our message. Right, and I think that's it. Just have a look. Our configuration. You can see this encrypted password. You can see our SSH settings, version 2, timeout, authentication retries, VLANs, and now you can see here dot radio, and you've got a NBSS ID, so it means our wireless networks are advertised, so you can see them. Interfaces, and here access to our network remotely. You can even add something like continue connect line 04 exec timer, I don't know, 10 minutes. So yeah, you can see here. I think 10 minutes is default. It's default, so maybe you should change that. 15, just for learning purposes. God. 15. Now we should see it. There you are. And anything else? Oh, our banner. Banner. That's it, our banner. Right, okay, so well, one more thing which we can do is add clock settings, because right now it's not really correct. So all we can do is just add NTP server, and before we do that, we can even set up a time zone and time, summertime, and a time zone. So clock, and we got the options time zone, and we can use UTC or just PC time. And 00, and we can the summertime, we name summer, recurring week, March, time, I think October, oh, what I've done wrong, can't remember now. Hold on. Day, I forgot about the day, Sunday, March, Sunday, October, 3 o'clock. Now should be okay. And now add this NTP servers. NTP server. Oh. Just few. If one fails, still we've got another 1 or 2. One more, just in case. Prefer. And now we should see the right clock. Not yet. But sometimes it take a while. Oh yeah, I paused the video. That's it, so it wasn't too bad, and as you can see, we got the right time. Anyway, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you like it, please subscribe. And once again, enjoy, try to set up your own router, use your own VLANs, and just practice as much as you can, and just keep doing it. And finally, you can understand more and more about Cisco routers and switches. So, good night, and all the best on your career. And hopefully I can put more videos if you like, and more about other Cisco routers, about other Cisco equipment. I've got some ideas, so like I said, if you like this video, please put some comments below. And if you need anything else, or you've got any questions, just ask. Hopefully, if I'm able to answer it, I definitely will do. Thank you.